Tall boy, because of the delay, when that video stopped playing, let me know so I can talk.
Go to the YouTube and see if you see it.
I don't see it, tall boy.
You don't see it?
Nope. Phone or television.
Refresh now and see if you see it.
Not only do I see it, but it's actually showing. All right, we're at the countdown. 303.
10 seconds to the intro.
I gotta keep dancing. I need ya, I need ya.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of the Untold Stories of Solar. I am your host, Quez Gangs. Unfortunately, this week, my partner in crime, the wonderful Miss Carolyn Griffey, is feeling a little bit under the weather, so she won't be with us tonight. But it's okay. I will march on and carry on this wonderful legacy for the Griffey family nonetheless. I'm very excited because last week we had our very first guest, which was the Queen of Solar, the wonderful Miss Carrie Lucas. And this week we have somebody that has grown to be a good friend of mine, somebody that was my favorite songwriter one of my favorite songwriters, and definitely my favorite drummer. And he's now become a good friend of mine and a good brother. We have today the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful songwriter, producer, and drummer, founding member of Dynasty, great brother from the Throwdown Brothers, the one and only Mr. Wardell Potts Jr.
All right.
What's up, Wardell?
Hey, brother, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's been a long day. It's been, doing my shows and stuff around here on the ranch and just life, and dealing with the family stuff back in Cali. We were just kind of talking about all the stuff that's going on in California. So I'd like to keep all those people over there in prayer and pray that all is good and that they come out of it on the upside and not so far down that they can't recover.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like Wardell said, our thoughts and prayers are with all of those in California. We both have a lot of friends and family in the Bay Area, Southern California, and in wine country. So we just want to send our love, our thoughts and prayers to them as they navigate this crazy, crazy time.
Yeah.
But we definitely don't want to stick on that too long. We want to get to some good stuff because it's not often that a man gets to talk to one of his favorite people in the world. I got Wardell Potts, y'all. I got Wardell. Yes. Wardell,
That's very nice.
Don't do that, man. You know I love you, brother. You know I love you.
Yeah, we when we saw each other at the anniversary, Solar anniversary, was the 40th anniversary, and in Los Angeles, and I saw you there. I was like, I need to be next to this brother. I need to hold him. We need to hug and take pictures together. So, and I'm glad I did that. That was very good for me because that's about 2 years now, right?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
Yeah, so I get to reminisce and remember that. So thanks for that moment, man. Enjoy seeing you.
Well, you know what, too? Also, if you remember 2 years before that, at Nick Caldwell's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
That night before at the restaurant, you
Yeah.
gave me some really empowering words, and that got me through the next 2 days. And I'm forever grateful for those moments. I'm forever grateful for those moments. It's not often that a young kid can say, I grew up listening to the music, loving the music, and now the heartbeat of the music is a close brother of mine. So I love you and I appreciate you for that, Wardell.
I appreciate the statement. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And it's really important that drummers recognize what you just said, that we have a responsibility, and people depend on that heartbeat, man, and not just the musicians that you're playing with or for, but also for the listeners who are listening to it. I believe they miss that. They miss that human pulse as opposed to the computer thing. Computer is cool, it does what it does, but there's something that's missing that I hear all the time, and from the listeners and stuff. And that's what it is to me. I think we've taken humans out of the music, and that's made things kind of go in a different direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, speaking of, in my book, you're one of the greatest drummers that ever did it. So my
Oh,
question to you is
thank you.
actually, you're welcome. My question to you is actually, how did you actually become a drummer?
Okay, so that's woo. Okay, so um, that's a big question. So going way back, my dad is a pastor, was a pastor, and so in his church, there were musicians, and but there was no drums, and there was just the organ and the good, not even a guitar. My dad played guitar and piano, but it was just the organ and the piano at the church. And my grandfather was a pastor also. And so, but I'm gonna tell you, so I was always around music as a real little guy. But what happened is that this guy came on my street one day. He moved on my street, didn't just come on. He moved at the corner of the street, and he was a drummer. And so and his band would come there and they would rehearse. And I would just sit on the steps all the time, the whole time. And so one day after rehearsal, everybody left, and he said, "Little man," and I said, "Yeah." He says, "You want to come in?" And I was like, "Yes." And so I went inside, and nowadays that's a little dangerous, right? But back then it was like wide open. So I went in, and I was walking around in his house, and the drums just captured me. Just the cymbals, the glare, and everything, and the size of it, they just took over. It was just, I just gravitated to it. So then I went home that night, and then the Jackson Five came on TV, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, that's it right there. That's what I want to do." I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so then I ended up going to Georgia to my granddad's church, and I got the opportunity to play the bass drum in my granddad's church. Boom, 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 boom. That was fun to watch those old people jumping up there, and they were praising. I'm playing the bass drum, but I wanted to play the snare drum. And so eventually, like about 3 weeks later, he let me play the snare drum. And so I started, putting it all together. My cousin was a musician, and I would go to band rehearsal with him, and then the drummer would let me sit on his drums and play a little bit. So then I started taking it really seriously. So but when I went back to Philadelphia, my parents let me go to Settlement Music School in Philadelphia, and I went there, and I started studying, and more and more, my dad bought me my first set of drums, a Pearl set, and I would practice all the time in the basement. But I wanted to be a progressive jazz drummer. That's where it was at for me. I just love progressive jazz. Those drummers were just amazing, and I was like, that was it for me. My friend that lived across the street, Reuben Edwards, is a bass player, and him and I would practice together every day, drive the neighbors crazy. But we would practice every day, and it became a thing. And so, but I didn't understand. The thing that was bothering me was that I was like, the kids, they don't understand this kind of music. They just listen to this R&B stuff, and I didn't understand why they listen to that simple stuff. Why don't they like this jazz, this crazy jazz? And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna see what's going on with that music that everybody likes. So I told my friend Tony Westcott, who's rest in peace, Tony. I said, "Tony, listen, man, if I teach you how to play jazz, will you teach me how to play R&B?" And he said, "Yeah, let's do that." So I was showing him some jazz stuff. He's on me R&B, and I said, "Tony, when next time you go on, and somebody tells you that they need a drummer, and you can't do it, call me. I'll do it." And so I didn't think anything about it. So, but Tony left to go to California because he was playing for the Silvers. And so he was out there on tour for a while with them, and then Archie Bell and the Drells, and then he was home. And then one day I was going to Norfolk State by then, and then that was like a few years later, and I was going to Norfolk State, and then I came home on a break and got a phone call from Tony, and he was like, "Tony, Wardell, you still want to go and play?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, I just got a phone call from Leon Silvers, and he's putting the group together, Dynasty, and I told him I don't want to go on the road anymore. I want to stay and be with my kids. So I told him about you. You want to go?" And I said, Yeah, and I didn't know what I was, yeah. And so he said, okay, cool. And so my friend Terrence Floyd was laughing in the background. He was like, I told you he would go. Him and Tony were together. And so anyway, I called Leon, and he said, well, come on out. So I ended up going to the bus station, put my drums and me, and my parents said, listen. They, listen, we don't want you to really go, but if you want to go, you go ahead on. We love you and we're gonna support you. So safe travels and everything, and we'll be praying for you. And I didn't realize that we'll be praying for you was the most important part of what they said. So anyway,
Right.
I get out there, I do the audition with Leon, and then about 2 or 3 weeks went by, and then I was like, you know what? I told Mom Spencer, because I was staying with Kevin Spencer at the time. I said, I think I'm going to just go back home until Leon gets ready, because I want to go back and finish doing what I was doing and work for my dad, because I needed some dineros. I need money, right? So,
Right.
right? So then I called Leon, and he said, no, we don't go yet. He says, we get ready to go in the studio and record the Whispers and Shalimar, stuff like that. And I didn't real I knew the Whispers, but I didn't know Shalimar. I know they had a song out called "Take That to the Bank." That's what was happening before I got there. So I said, okay, all right. So anyway, so one Sunday morning, he called. I mean, well, Saturday night he called and said, tomorrow morning we go in the studio to record. And so Kevin and I, and we all got up early that Sunday morning, went in the studio, and we started recording. And the song that we recorded was "And the Beat Goes On," and the song on the other side of that was "Out the Box." So we did those two songs, but it wasn't for the Whispers; it was for somebody else. But when Dick Griffey heard it, he said, I want that song for the Whispers. And so he would negotiate it with Leon and got the song for the Whispers. And, I got to tell you, when I was recording that song, I really studied different groups, two groups, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and another group out of Philadelphia, Big Fat and Whitehead. Um,
Yes.
and, uh, yeah, and so those two up tempo songs, the one with the for Earth, Wind, and Fire was dun, dun, dun,
Boogie Wonderland.
Boogie Wonderland. So I
Uh huh.
studied that, and I studied that, and then I studied the one for McFadden and Whitehead. So
Ain't no
that's my
stopping us
long
now.
answer. Ain't no stopping us now. So when I was recording "And the Beat Goes On," I was thinking about that. It was in my subconscious, and I was thinking about it. And so as I was playing, and so that to me, because I am from Philly, and I started hanging out with the guys from Earth, Wind, and Fire with Leon and those guys, and it became a part of who I was. So I put all of who I was into that, and I'm just so grateful that the Whispers ended up with that song, because it really blessed me. It was the first song I ever recorded in my life, and it was
And
for
you know
them.
what?
So
That's amazing because you had no choice but to just be musically inclined because you came out of Philadelphia and you came up under the tutelage of Leon Silvers in
mhm.
Los Angeles. You had no choice but to be great. You were born into musical greatness being in Philadelphia. And we actually share a very good mutual friend, brother Calvin Harrison, who is a
All right.
guitar player
Uh-huh.
with
Absolutely.
multiple groups out of Philly, the Blue
Everybody.
Notes. Yes,
Yeah, he plays with everybody.
yes. I've
Yes.
known Calvin for years, and I had never knew that you two knew each other until
Yes.
one day. I think he commented on something on social media, and you came right behind him, and I was like, "Y'all know each other?" And Calvin called me, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "I grew up with Wardell." I was like, "What?" That was
yeah,
insane,
we
but
yeah, we lived around the corner from each other.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's always a small world. So you get to LA, you become a part of Solar by getting the job as a drummer with Dynasty. And
Yes.
then you enter to what is quite possibly the greatest conglomerate of musicians that I've ever seen, which is the Throwdown Brothers.
Yes.
And
Amen.
before we talk about the Throwdown Brothers, I just want to tell the people who the Throwdown Brothers are. So if you
Okay.
know anything about Motown, Motown had their own in-house band called the Funk Brothers. Well,
Right.
Solar Records was no different. We had our own in-studio band known as the Throwdown Brothers. But what
Yes.
made the Throwdown Brothers so legendary was that these were all cats who were in groups. They were versatile. Nobody just played one instrument. like Ricky Freed Smith is a guy that can play everything.
Right.
So the group was composed of brother Stephen Shockley of Lakeside, the phenomenal songwriter producer Mr. Everything Leon Silvers, the other Mr. Everything Ricky Freed Smith, also Richard Randolph on guitar. Kevin Spencer was a great songwriter, keyboardist. We also had Dana Myers, who is actually another one of my favorite songwriters. And of course, the one and only brother that's here with us right now, brother Wardell Potts. So if you could explain to me, what was it like working with all those brothers, and you guys were known as the Throwdown Brothers? What was that experience like?
Okay, so we really became family because we ended up living in the studio. I mean, we were there every day. I mean, we went home, but we couldn't get there no earlier than 10 o'clock because we were physically not able, just exhausted because we would stay in the studio until, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You're driving home and people are driving to work and you trying to get to the bed. And so, and this was going on and on and on. I mean, for years, right? Just constant, back and forth to the studio. But our relationship became so tight because we were always together. We ate together. We prayed together. We hung out together. We recorded together. We wrote songs together. We went to movies together. I mean, we really became a family of brothers in this thing but we're so grateful because Dick Griffey gave us the opportunity. And then Dick Griffey and Leon, once they came together, and Leon hired Dick Griffey. I mean, Dick Griffey hired Leon to take care of the music for him. Leon is really a wonderful chef in the kitchen. And he was able to pick out whatever he needed from all of us to get what he needed to do for Dick Griffey. And so it was and we were all very patient and very, willing and let's do this. And it was just a beautiful time, man, because we worked with so many artists that would come in there and everybody would come in. It was just a beautiful thing. But I'm going to share something with you that I just shared. The Solar, there was a certain sound with our music, but also
Absolutely
there was these hand claps that were legendary. People knew those hand claps, and
yes.
someone had mentioned it on my radio show the other day, like real hand claps. And I was like, "What do you know about real hand claps?" And so they were like, "Oh yes, we really know about hand claps." So because my friend was a musician, so I said, "So let me tell you about these hand claps that we used to do." When you walk into the studio, when you walked into Studio Masters, which is in Beverly Hills on Beverly Boulevard, and you came in from the back, you go in, there's a small hallway. To the right, there's a ladies' bathroom. To the left, there's the men's bathroom. And then if you went straight, you would end up going into the actual studio where we were recording at. But if you made a left, that's the control room. If you made a left, that's the control room where Leon and the engineers and stuff were. And so what we would do is Leon had them put the microphone right in the hallway, in the center of the two bathrooms. We would open up the doors all the way in the bathrooms. Then all of us musicians would surround the microphone, including Leon. And the engineer was sitting in there and he making sure you get the sound. And then as the songs start, we just hit that 3, 2 and 4. And those hand claps sounded so dang good. I mean, but Leon was a stickler. He was still producing hand claps.
Right.
He was like, hold on. You all
do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Because some people like, what are you doing? Everybody wasn't a pocket person, right?
Right.
But anyway, but we got through it all the time. And so once we were finished and I heard those hand claps, I was like, wow. I thought that was my snare drum because it was right with my snare drum.
So in a nutshell, you mean to tell me that those legendary hand claps that we hear on Second Time Around that we hear on Take That to the Bank, those kind of hand claps that we hear, you mean to tell me that that's made in that little bitty hallway in between two bathrooms?
Yes, yes, because it's that natural echo of the bathrooms, and then whatever Bob Brown or Steve Hodge would do to them, on the board to make them pop, and they would cut, man. And I was like, woo, those hand claps are amazing. A lot of times, to me, they made the groove feel even,
No,
more.
they did. Like those hand claps were legendary, and to know that that
Yeah,
was made there and it sounds
yeah,
better than the hand claps that people make on Pro Tools now, that is
yeah,
beyond amazing. Beyond amazing.
yeah.
So here's what I want to say. So right after you got into Dynasty, you guys embarked on one of the biggest tours in history prior to the Jackson's Victory Tour, which was the Solar Galaxy of Stars tour.
Mm,
And that tour composed of the Whispers headlining Shalimar, Lakeside, and Dynasty.
right.
And what was cool about that tour is that you would open the show with Dynasty on
Hmm.
drums, and then you'd come back with Shalimar, and this
Yes.
time you would have on no shirt, but you would come back with Shalimar and be the percussionist.
Yes.
And back
Yes.
then, I remember being a kid watching it. Back then, all you would see is Wardell with no shirt on, just jumping up and down, clapping, and then hit like the cymbal, and then go, and then hit the cymbal, and then jumping, and then just. So, can you explain what it was like to tour, and do double duty like that? Because I had never seen anybody do that until you.
Okay, so it was the best. I mean, for me, I was the luckiest musician in the whole tour because I got to experience a new group coming out and growing, and people liking it. And like our song, I think our hit was "I Just Begun to Love You," and so the show would be kind of like cool, but everybody really liked Dynasty because the music was really tight.
Right.
Not knowing that we were the musicians that played on everybody else's stuff.
Right.
They didn't know that, right? But we were just Dynasty, so that's how because people are really, it's like a face value thing. Okay, you're Dynasty. Let's hurry up and get to the other. They they don't read credits and stuff. They don't know that kind of stuff like they do overseas. A lot of people overseas, they know everything about you. Like, whoa, man, I
Right.
didn't know that. Yeah. But for me, so I had that wonderful experience playing with Dynasty, my brothers and stuff, which is the tightest group I ever played with in my life. They were the tight because they were the Throwdown Brothers. Besides
Right.
Steve wasn't there, but they were and Pepper Reed, Ernest Pepper Reed, who passed away, an
Yes.
amazing guitarist. I just have to mention him. Just playing with him was just that's another conversation. Woo, boy. So, but anyway, and then I got the opportunity to go backstage with Dynasty and, just, either say, yeah, that was good or it wasn't or whatever the case is. Most of the time we felt good about ourselves and we were excited to be there, right? We were
Right.
young. We're just kids. We're young.
Right.
And so then I would get dressed and I go out with my Solar jacket on. I was feeling good about it. And go out in the audience and sit out in the audience and then get captivated by Lakeside. Go,
Right.
oh, good. And I was watching because they've been doing it for a long time. They're our big brothers, right? So they've been doing it for a long time, and so you get to watch them and learn the stage presence and all the stuff that they did, and it was absolutely amazing. And then I knew when they were getting close, and then I would have to go backstage again. See, that's the blessing for me because I had another turn. It's like you get up there one time and you go down and you're done. You're done. But when you get the chance to do it again, you could, if you had a bad show in the first time, you could really go capitalize the second time. You could I'm going to, vindicate myself. Or if you felt really good and you didn't want to stop because we had a shorter show because we were the opening act. So we only was on for like 20 minutes,
Right.
whereas everybody else was on, a lot longer. Shalimar was on way longer. And then the Whispers topped it off. So for me, getting the opportunity to go back out there with Shalimar was a wonderful opportunity. I felt really good, got back out there, and I was really the timekeeper. That's why you see me doing this, because I was just keeping the drummer Don in pocket, and he was good, but I was just doing what they expected me to do: play the percussions, keep the pocket. And so I became a human metronome on the stage. That's why you see me doing that. And the Whispers used to bet how many times I was going to jump before I stopped. They would bet on the side of the stage. I didn't know they were doing that. They were betting. So that's an untold story right there. They would bet on the side of the stage how many times Wardell's going to jump. And so it was fun. And I did wear suspenders and some didn't wear shirts because I was kind of buff. And so I felt comfortable. I didn't have a gut. I felt good about myself. I was also a gymnast. So that's why wearing suspenders with no shirt, that was natural.
Right.
Yeah. So, because we had like do you know how the clothes the gymnasts wear?
Right.
And so,
right.
Yeah. So that's what I was, when I was in high school. So for me, it was just a natural thing. Plus, I didn't want to wear what Dynasty was wearing because they had uniforms on. I didn't want to be confined. So
Right.
I wore a small, I just wanted to be able to, do what I needed to do. So yeah, good. That's it.
All right. So with that being said, we're not at the halfway mark of our wonderful, wonderful episode 4 of Untold Stories of Solar with Mr. Wardell Potts. We're going to take a quick commercial break, shout out our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more of Wardell Potts Jr. All right. You've loved the classic music of Solar Records from the 70s and 80s. Well, guess what? Now we have our own radio station to celebrate that music and all of our solo artists. Check out Solar Records Radio on solarrecordsradio.com as we celebrate our classic Solar artists, their timeless hits, and even some of their new music. So meet us over there at Solar Records Radio. Spice up the flavor and the look of your next event with Nola's Unique Delights. Whether it's the classic candy apples or the new candy-coated grapes, chocolate-covered strawberries, or the classic New Orleans pralines, Nola's Unique Delights can fulfill your sweet tooth with all the items available for shipping to anywhere in the continental United States. So don't wait. Follow Nola's Unique Delights on Instagram at Nola's_unique_delights. And on Facebook at Nola's Unique Delights. And let them know that the Untold Stories of Solar sent you to pick up your new treats. The Powder Room Podcast is a brand new podcast starring the legendary Lily Lyons of multi-platinum group SWV. And she's joined by her sisters in crime, Shay Styles and Nikki Nicole. Join them as they take on the taboo topics that most people are afraid to address, all from the mouths and minds of 3 sexy, educated, seasoned women who are here to show you that as they get older, they just get better with time. You can follow them on Instagram at the Powder Room _podcast and on Facebook, the Powder Room Podcast. Be on the lookout because the debut date is coming extremely soon. All right, y'all, we're back. We're back with Mr. Wardell Potts Jr. Wardell, before I ask the next question, man, I just want to tell you, I am so thankful that you joined me today. I mean, the music that you've done has been a complete has been the soundtrack to my life, whether it's the music that you play drums on or, now that we know the music that you did the hand claps in the bathroom on. All of those, your music is the soundtrack of my life. And I want to talk about for a quick second the song that you wrote that was the biggest record that you've ever written, which also happens to be my favorite song by one of my favorite groups. And that song was the song by the legendary Whispers. And the song is actually titled Keep On Loving Me, but everybody knows it as Hey Scotty. So if you can you tell me, how did you come up with that song, Keep On Loving Me?
I don't know. It wasn't planned. It was just one of those things, man. Okay, so I got to tell you, the best thing that Leon Silvers ever did for me was he threw me in. He threw me in the pool and told me to swim. And so every time I said I wanted to do something, he would just say, "Well, go do it. Get a keyboard and do it." So let me tell you, this is how I became a songwriter real quick to get in our answer. So I said, one day what happened was we're playing on all these records and gold and platinum, right? And everybody, and so we're starting to get money. Checks are coming in, things are good, and I go buy me a brand new. I was an athlete, so I was riding my bike to the studio. Everybody else was driving, but I was riding the bike to the studio, and so I go buy me a brand new bike, and I'm feeling all good about myself, and then I'm excited. I got everything, paying all my bills, and things are good. And all of a sudden, William Shelby pulls up in a brand new Mercedes convertible. I go, "What the? How did you do that?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "We played on the same songs. How you got a brand new Mercedes?" He says, "Well, I wrote the songs too." I go, "Oh."
It's a different set of money.
Exactly. It's a whole other story. So then I was like, so I told Leon, I said, I want to write songs too. Go ahead and get a keyboard. Just get the keyboard and start writing. I was like, really? Yeah. So, that could mean one thing. It could mean just get a keyboard and start writing. I never thought it meant get a keyboard, start writing, show it to me, and then I'll help you make it into a song. And I'll show you. He didn't say that part. He only said get a keyboard and start writing. So I got a keyboard and I started writing. And then we became roommates. And I was like, "Leon, what do you think about this is a song I'm working on. I'm embarrassed and because I'm just starting like a little kid." And he heard it and he said, "Okay, cool. All right, we got to bring this down, bring it to the studio, and we'll work something out." Not the studio, but the rehearsal hall. And we did. I did. And then all of a sudden I heard the guys playing it. I was like, voila, that's magic. I'm playing on my keyboard. It sounds like a little piece of crap. But then when I get in the studio and the guys try, repeat what I'm playing, but they're really good musicians that can play, and the keyboard players, it was like, whoa, it sounded so much better. And so that's how I discovered that what I'm hearing myself do is just the idea of what is to come.
And then so, Leon produced it and filled it out.
Right. Now, so to get to the song "Keep on Loving Me," by the time I did that, I was a lot more experienced, right? And I was feeling it now, and I'm like, yeah, man, I got this thing now. And so then Leon heard that song because we were at our place, Silver Spoon Productions, a studio that Leon had, and so he heard it, and he was like, "Okay, so let's put the bridge to it and stuff, and let's get going." I was like, "Okay," and so I did. William Zimmerman came in because I could not think of a bridge, and so I did ask one guy. He calls me periodic. And one of the guys that was one of the new writers, and I said, "Hey, do you hear a bridge?" And he was like, when you get it further together, give me a call and I'll try to see if I can think of something." But William Zimmerman heard it, and he went right to the bridge. He understood where I was coming from, and so that guy still calls me to the day and go, "Man, did I miss out on the opportunity?" But he feels so bad. I said, "It's all good, man." So then Leon said, "Okay, Wardell, so that's great. So let's go record it. Let's go downstairs and record it into the studio." So I said, "Okay." So he got everything set up. So I went down there. And so I played every instrument on the song.
Wow.
Every instrument. And so but Leon did this thing on the bass, on the Rickenbacker bass. It sounds like a guitar because he was playing up really high. Think it. It's so funky. Like that is, if you ever listen to that thing,
no,
that's Leon.
It's one of my favorites. I know it. Yeah. And that's Leon on bass.
Yes, that's Leon doing that, right? So It was great. And so
whose idea was it? There's a funny story that's out that I've heard the whisper say where somebody said that we're going to say "Hey Scotty" in the song, and whose idea was that?
Okay, so I was doing a radio show the other day, and somebody else asked me that question. And so while songs were playing, I called Leon. I said, Leon, whose idea was that? Hey, Scotty, on my song. I don't know. And he said, it was my idea. I said, really? And so he told me the story. So now I'm going to share it with you. Leon said that he came up with the idea when they were doing vocals on the song, and so, but Scotty didn't want to do it. He
Right.
didn't like it,
Right.
and so Leon said, okay. So he says, this is what I'm gonna do then. And Leon is a manipulator to his degree. He's like, I'll do two different mixes of it. I'll do one with it and then one without it. So,
Right.
because Leon was capitalizing off of that Scotty scattered on stuff, and so he's like,
Right.
"Hey, Scotty, what's that?" If Scotty did a scat, "Hey, Scotty, what's that mean?" That mean then he could say what it means, and you know what I'm saying. And so, it was a great idea, but Scotty wasn't feeling it, and
At
so
all.
then, but Leon said, he says, "Okay, so I'm gonna play it for Dick in the different mixes, and when Dick asks me which one I like, I'm gonna tell him which one I like. I like the one with Hey Scotty. So so the rest is history. So Dick said that's the one he wanted, and that's the one he got. And so then now
Wow.
that Scotty loves it.
Now
He
Scotty
loves it
loves
now.
it. It's his theme
Well,
song. Uh,
yeah, but
the
yeah,
whole world
absolutely
sings it. Uh,
right.
and
And,
actually, on some compilation albums, it doesn't even say "Keep on Loving Me." It says "Hey Scotty."
yeah, and that's
And
crazy.
the way with me working with the Whispers closely for years, the way that it's on the set list every night is "Hey Scotty."
Wow.
So
Uh,
that's how that goes. So
yeah.
man, I mean, it's great to hear. The reason why me and Carolyn started this show was for moments like this, so we can hear the real reason of how a song became about and how that real journey from you guys' mouth. It's not us
Mm,
hearing it from somebody else who may have been there. We're hearing it
well,
from the guys who actually made the record. And I'm just
well.
outdone today by the hand claps. That is, matter of fact, we should title this episode the hand clap episode. All right, so really quick, I want to go into some comments on YouTube real quick. There are some people that are watching us. Uncle Vicky is in the house. She loves Wardell Potts. She had no idea the amount of material that you wrote and produced and played
Oh,
on and sung on and all of that stuff and clapped in the bathroom on. She had no idea. So, so shout out to Uncle Vicky.
shout
Shout out,
out, Uncle Vicky.
shout out to Clush. Shout out to Michelle Watley is watching. Shout out to Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. Oh,
Yes,
Michelle.
Michelle is in the building, right?
I
Miss
remember
Wat.
her as a little girl. Little
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Wardell, we getting ready to play a little game. You ready to play a game real quick?
Go ahead.
This
Uh-oh.
is our signature game. It's called the Solar Spin. All
Uh-oh.
right. This
Oh,
game,
Lord.
yeah, this game is just a rapid fire game. So I'm gonna ask you 5 questions, and you have to answer those questions quickly, and you have to give me the first answer that comes to your mind. Don't cheat and try to think of a great answer. Like, just give me the first answer that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
You can do it, Wardell. You can do
Okay.
it. I
Yeah.
know you can do it. I just need
Hey,
you to.
but if the answer comes out upside down, I'm dyslexic. Just playing. But I am dyslexic.
No, your answer is gonna be great. I know you. I know your answer will be great. I'm actually interested, like a little kid, to see what your answers are actually gonna be, because it's actually one of these questions is a question that I've been dying to ask you my entire life, and I haven't asked.
Okay.
So I'm actually dying to ask this question. So, you ready?
Fire.
Rapid fire questions. Here we go. It's called the Solar Spin. All right. What is your favorite song that you ever recorded?
It's a love. No, in the raw.
In the Raw by the Whispers. Okay. What is your least favorite song that you recorded?
Right. Mm. Uh, Mm, I don't want to say it.
Say it. It's free. This is open range. Say it. No one's gonna kill you.
I I don't. I can't say it.
Yes, you
It's not
can.
fair. It's not fair. Okay, second time around.
Second time around is your least favorite song you recorded?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't
Okay,
that? See, I told you it's not fair.
that's wild.
Do you
That's
know? Want to know why?
wild.
Do
Yeah,
you want to know why?
give me the quick
Because
version. Why?
the quick answer is that because it was done with drum drops. It was that's where the drum beat came from.
Right.
Drum drops. Leon wrote the song to drum drops, so I'm copying the drum drops. And but I love the song. But I just, as far as record when I played it, I did exactly what they did. So it was so. But it's probably, I don't know if it's my least favorite, but it's one of the well known least favorites because there's a lot of other songs that nobody would even know what it is.
Got you. Okay, so what is a song that was recorded by another artist that you wish you either recorded or wrote?
Oh, oh, I say it all the time. I can't think of it. Dang. Oh man, there's a song. Oh, well, actually, this guy has never come out. No one even knows who his name is. Victor Lattimore Jr.
Yes. Yes.
You know Victor,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he has a song called Age.
Okay.
And that song is about, it's about women that feel like, they're getting older, and they have nothing else to, this, like, it's embarrassing. They're getting wrinkles, wearing girdles and that. And he's like, age is nothing but a number. It's just,
So that's
they,
that's the song that you wish you would have done.
yes, I
All
wish I
right,
would have.
got it. Here's your last one. What is your absolute favorite song to perform?
To perform.
Yes.
Oh man, absolutely. I don't get to perform it much, but I would love to perform It's a Love Thing.
You would love to perform It's a Love Thing.
It's a
Hey,
Love Thing by the Whispers. I
ain't
would
nothing
love to perform that song.
ain't nothing wrong with that, my brother. That is a great song. And the opening with the runs that you were doing on the toms and on, that was
Oh yeah,
legendary. That
yeah,
was legend.
yeah.
That was legendary. So I could see that. I could see that. All right,
Yes.
Wardell, this is it. This is the end of the show, man. This is the end
Awesome.
of the show. I so
Whoa! Made it through. That's so
I
good.
so I so appreciate you spending this evening with me. We talk and our conversations are always good, but in this platform, I just wanted you to have the platform to really express yourself and really say what it is you wanted to say. And before we get out of here, I also want to let the people know that right now, Wardell Potts, he is the creator, the producer, the curator of Solar Records Radio. So he's our brother that's running the radio station, and he did a phenomenal job creating it, curating it. He does a phenomenal job. So let's give Wardell some love for that.
Hey man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And is there anything that you want to say before we get out of here tonight, Wardell?
Yes, I like to say thank you to your producer. He's amazing. I also like to say to Carolyn Griffey that I hope she feels better soon. I really miss talking to her because she just, she came onto my show so many times, just a bunch of them. And so I appreciate it every time she came on. But most importantly, I want to say that Carrie Lucas, I love you. And I thank you so much for being you. And God bless Solar Records. And you guys, I appreciate this and I support your show.
Thank you so much, Wardell. We love you. We appreciate you. You guys also be on the lookout because a little birdie told me that Dynasty is back together.
Yeah,
So you guys
we
be on
got.
the lookout.
Yes, it's we are in the trenches right now, putting the music together, kicking our butts, but we're going to do good.
Great. And you
God
know
is
what,
because
Wardell,
God is
you gotta come back on one day with maybe Leon and Ricky Smith and we could talk all about it, right?
absolutely. I would love to do that. Just
Absolutely.
doing anything with Leon would be a blessing. So
Absolutely.
If you could hook that one up, whoa, that was like
I'm gonna call him and bug him until he says
he.
yes.
Oh, he's the busiest man I know. He is the original studio rat. He's still in the
Absolutely.
studio. Yes,
Absolutely. Well,
absolutely.
thank you so much, Wardell. I appreciate you,
All
my
right,
brother, so
all right,
much. Thank you
guys.
so much for hanging with us, Wardell. I really
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you. My favorite
Thank you.
drummer. I love you, man.
That's sweet. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Everybody, check this out. I hope you guys love this interview. I hope you love this episode. And as we keep going every week, we're just going to get better and better and better. And we just get better with time, right? So,
Amen.
who wouldn't be better next week than the one and only legendary The Whisper? So, yes, you heard
Yes.
it here first. Next
Yes.
Wednesday, September 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific time, we will have the legendary Whispers. So, you guys make sure you check us out next week. Make sure you guys email us your questions that you have for the Whispers. You can email us at untoldsstoriesofsolar@gmail.com. You can email us there. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the exciting things going on with Untold Stories of Solar. And make sure that you tell a friend. Get a friend, tell a friend, bring them in. We're going to have a good time next week with the king group of Solar, the Whispers. So that's it for episode 4 of Untold Stories of Solar. It is presented by Quez Entertainment, which is my company, in conjunction with our producer, the one and only Tall Boy. And make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys email us the Untold Stories of Solar at gmail.com. Send your questions in, any comments, anything that you want to say, send it to us and we'll definitely check it out. Wardell Potts, thank you one more time, my brother, for being on with us, being our special guest this week. My sister Carolyn Griffey will be back with us next week. And thank you to my producer, the one and only Mr. Tall Boy. We're out of here,
Hey,
y'all. Thank you so much.
all righty.